DIY or Die, Walker Vapor Group LLC, or any of its associates do not condone nor encourage the use of nicotine, vapor products, or any mood-altering substances without the explicit consent of a physician. The content viewable on this channel is strictly for entertainment purposes only and not meant to be seen as informational or educational. Must be 21 years or older to view these materials.
Silky beat. Hey, what is up, mixers? Welcome back to another glorious episode of the Mixin Vixens. My name is Emily, also known as mlNikon. Let's say hello to our other Vixens. First up, we've got the lovely Lumi. Hi, Lumi.
Hi.
How are you?
PG.
You're in a very dark space.
Got blue lights though.
Is that what that is? Blue lights? Cool.
Yeah, I normally have this one turned up just a wee bit more, but
love the ambiance.
But I felt a little blind, so turn it down.
Right. Turn them down, sure. We can. Your lighting's fine. We can see fine if it turned down. All right, and then we've got Rin. Hi, Rin. How you doing?
Hey.
Hey, Rin. Loving your eye makeup today. You're looking good. How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was chill. Didn't really do much of anything. Didn't even bowl.
No?
Yeah, my brother had a C scare. The C word.
Oh, yeah.
COVID scare?
And we've got Jen. Hi, Jen. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Was the scare like neutralized? Is everything okay?
I don't know. But he said that his friend was positive for it and he had hung out with him the weekend prior.
Oh yeah, so you gotta like isolate just to be sure.
Yeah.
I went to a Christmas party, and a party's not a party till the cops show up, but the cops showed up, of course, because we had more than 20 people.
Yeah, that's a little sketchy. Not a cool.
It was a barn party, but I mean, there was a lot of people out there, so the cops did show up. Somebody reported it. We are out in the country. Somebody literally had to pick up the phone and call and say, "Hey, these folks are having a party." Fucking assholes.
Oh, what would you guys do if you saw a gathering and you knew it was kind of against regulation?
I don't give a shit. That's their business.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm at the point where like I'd rather go super, super strict and restrictive to maybe be able to have some kind of semblance of a Christmas with my family than like let people be willy-nilly and like possibly spreading it around even more.
I'm at the point where I feel like fuck it. It was all young people. I mean, 40 and under. We're not around other people. We're all self-isolating most of the time, working from home. We're all just fucking tired of self-isolating, and we wear our masks and do shit like that. But we're around each other anyways. We're just not around each other all at the same time. But every single person at that party works with my husband.
Yeah.
And then the ones that don't work with him work with me. So we're around them anyways. It wasn't anybody that was like outside of the circle.
Yeah.
So and I feel like what's better than a vaccine? Your immune system, unless you have an autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
You said it was in a barn, so it was kind of outside, right?
It was all outside. It was completely outside. It was a big gazebo. The only thing that was that's why they could see us. It was they rolled down the curtains behind the band so that they can be, protect the wind and the sound can come towards us. So they couldn't put anybody in jail, but they did show up and stay there and give the homeowner a ticket for having over 20 people. But it was outside. If it was inside, they'd have closed us down.
All right. So let's get into some mixing. As you guys can see the profile, delicious black forest cake, or
shit! Let me send my recipe to Friction.
Oh, okay.
If you weren't too busy partying, maybe you'd have it done.
Yeah. What did you guys think of mixing it this week? Did you guys enjoy it, or did you have fun with it?
I think finding a good cherry finally really made it a lot easier.
Yeah, I'm super bummed. I had ordered all the SSA cherries because I heard that they were really good and I wanted to use them, and I ordered them like maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they're not in yet, and I'm so bummed. So I had to use a different cherry, but my mix still turned out really, really good. In fact, when I first started the mix, like theory crafting and figuring out what I was going to use, I'm going to be honest, I did not have high hopes for it. I'm like, I don't know, I don't think this is going to be good. Like, cherries are just really bad to, hard to do. And then plus chocolate's really hard to do. I'm like, I don't know how good this is going to be. And so I was like, my expectations, boom, down here. But I got to tell you, I am digging it. And like the cherry isn't too strong or overpowering, which I think helps it. Like, it's mostly chocolate cake. But I really enjoyed mixing it up, and I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with mine, and mine's simple, so that's even better.
Oh, that is better, yeah. Yeah, mine's pretty simple too. I only have a few, four ingredients, I think. So,
nice.
Well, Rin, would you like to go first this week?
Sure. So I was fortunate enough to get my cherry from SSA. I've tried 2 of the cherries so far. I don't really think the ripe cherry is necessary because I don't know how it would be different from either of these. The juicy cherry is brighter, and I wanted something a little bit darker for a bakery because I tried doing the juicy cherry with a cheesecake and it was just too bright. It was a little weird. So I used the Compote Cherry by SSA, or Subuki Super Aromas, at 0.5%. It's a nicer dark cherry.
Nice.
So it worked well for what the Black Forest cake is, because I've actually made this cake in the past. It's actually a really, really good cake. So I used that, and then
since you said that, I'm sorry to interrupt, but since you said you've made this in real life, are there cherries like in the cake too, or is it just on top?
Yeah, so it's a multi-layered cake. I think I did 3 layers, and in between each layer is going to be a cherry filling. I don't, mind you, I did this years ago, so I don't remember exactly like what everything was in it, but it was some kind of cherry filling in between the layers, and then frosting all around, and then you can put cherries on top if you wanted. I don't remember if I did or not. And then your chocolate, either a dusting or chocolate shavings.
Cool.
And I don't remember what the actual cake was either. I don't remember if it was chocolate or a yellow cake.
I want to say that they're chocolate, but like I said, I've never had one in real life because like in cherries in real life, I'm not a huge fan unless it's like the mushed up fake cherry, like on a cheesecake or something. So I've never had it in real life, but okay, sorry. You can continue with your recipe. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. But yeah, it's a good cake, and it's not too sweet because the frosting, at least the one that I did, is made with whipped cream and then like a little bit of sugar instead of like a buttercream thick, super sweet frosting. So it's more of a light cake. I mean, it's still rich, but it's not like too much. But anyway, so 0.5% of the compote cherry for the filling, and then chocolate chunks by Wonder Flavors at 0.75% for a little bit of a chocolate note. And then frosting by Flavora at 0.5% for the frosting note. And for the yellow cake, or for the base, is yellow cake by Jungle Flavors at 1.25. Ideally, I was trying to make a chocolate cake as like the base instead of a yellow cake, but it didn't work. So, because I would use like lava cake by Liquid Barn, but I heard that they reformulated it and it's not that good anymore.
Well, I heard that the new version of lava cake is still good. It's not that different from the original. I've heard that from both Fresh and Dave.
Yeah, Fresh says it does need a little bit of something to get back to where Lava Cake V1 was, and he said it's normally chocolate mousse. But I had the same problem. I was just like, even if I use chocolate mousse with it, it's not the same, and I don't want to do it. I personally don't like the new lava cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you had V1, I think it would be really good with this, using that in place of the yellow cake and probably bringing down the chocolate chunks. But I didn't want to use something that, people are not going to have. So yeah, I used the yellow cake instead. I mean, it still has a chocolate note to it with the chocolate chunks. So, I mean, it still works in that. It's just not as chocolate heavy as like a chocolate cake base would be. But it's still good. So
Awesome. It looks good. Like everything in here. I haven't had the compote cherry yet because that's one of the flavors I'm waiting for. But all the other flavors, I mean, are really good, and I bet together it looks really tasty. And having a recipe only 3% flavors is crazy, but I mean, not for Rin. Rin's a super taster, and like she tells a lot of people, is you may need to double everything.
Yeah, I think if you double it, it'll be fine. I mean, most of these are about half of what's recommended anyway, so it's probably about right.
Nice.
You could use the Inawera cherries probably in place of compote cherry if you like that flavor. I wanted to use the new flavor and I liked it, so that's what I did.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. That looks really tasty. Lily, would you like to go next?
Sure. I had a little bit of a rough time with this because surprisingly enough, I do love bakery items. I don't really like cake that much. And I've never had a cake like this before, so I was struggling. I don't really make mini cake vapes because of the steep time on them. And I also find even with the steep time, which I normally am not patient, but sometimes even if I do wait that 3 to 4 days, I'm still pretty blind to it. And I'm not exactly sure what this was supposed to taste like, but I tried it anyways. So I don't think it's a cake, but I don't know. I'm a little cake blind. I used White Cake by Flavor West at 2.63. I used Cherry VSO 1.29 because I just saw the cherries on there and I thought they were authentic looking. So I was like, real cherries, let's go. Chocolate Chunks by Wonder Flavors at 0.37. Chocolate Mousse VTA at 0.99. Fluffy White Cake 0.76. Whipped Cream 1-on-1 1.28. For me, it's very chocolate forward right now. I was hoping that whipped cream would in the mousse would kind of make it that like light kind of like chocolatiness to it, and it definitely worked. I just think I might have buried the cake. I'll just have to wait for somebody else that can actually taste cakes to be like, yes, there's cake in here, or no. The cherry is covered, I think.
How long do you let it steep for, Lumi?
Yesterday.
Okay, so they may still need time to develop because sometimes the cakes need like a good week or two to fully come out and be able to sit on top of the other flavors that you have in there.
Yeah, I normally, even when I do that with some of the cakes, I still don't taste it. I think I am cake blind.
Cake blind. That's a new one.
I just like every time I make anything with cake, and I will let them steep and try them again, I can never taste the cake.
What do you taste? Mostly cream?
Yeah.
I have that problem too. Don't feel bad.
I thought there was just something wrong with me and my sinuses. I was like, I
But
It's
tried
the
to layer it.
texture. I think it's the texture. I think it's just not textured enough to taste, but at the same time, you don't want it to be a cookie, so you got to kind of balance that.
Yeah. I even thought about using like the fried sponge cake by Real Flavors or the sponge cake by Flavor West, and I know that I'm blind to those flavors for some reason. Every time I've ever used them, I can't taste the cake notes. So it was a little bit of a struggle. I'm hoping I did well though.
But what you taste now, as far as like the balance between like the cherry and the chocolate and stuff, do you like what you taste now?
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very light, creamy chocolate. Like I definitely got the mousse to come out, which wasn't exactly my plan. But I was kind of more going for like that like light chocolate whipped cream.
Yeah, that chocolate mousse, by the way, guys, for those of you who don't have it, that is a fantastic chocolate flavor. It's a good one.
Yeah, I tried the whole like quick steep thing where you put the bottle in warm water, you shake it, and then you rinse and repeat it several times. I can't taste the cake for some reason.
Huh. Yeah, it could just be a texture thing, you know? Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing. It does look tasty. I like it. I don't have cherry by VSO, but it's a little bit brighter, more of a, like a natural cherry, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll go next. So like I had mentioned earlier, I didn't have too high hopes for this mix going into it. Yeah, so I thought I wasn't too worried about using the most accessible flavors. So I actually used for my cherry, since I didn't have the SSA flavors, I actually used Euro Flavors Amarena cherry at 1.5%. And then I used the original version 1 Liquid Barn Lava Cake at 6%. I did 1% sweetener from Jungle Flavors, which I think is pretty much the same as like Flavor West sweetener, which is just like 10% sucralose. So if you don't have Jungle Flavors, or I guess they're not Jungle Flavors anymore. Not Jungle Flavors. E-cig Express, Flavor Jungle. There we go. Flavor Jungle is what they're called now. If you don't have a sweetener by them, you can use Flavor West sweetener, and it's 98% sure it's the same stuff. And then I did for the white frosting on top, I did 1.5% Vape Train buttercream frosting. And like I said, like I didn't have high hopes for this. Like I thought just going in and like, well, this is gonna be one of those like throwaway weeks. Sometimes you have those where you can't mix anything good no matter how hard you try or beat your head against a wall.
Throwaway mix.
But this throwaway mix, right?
Hit it and quit it.
Like once every 2 or 3 cycles I'll have one of those kind of throwaway mixes. This was not it, guys. If any of you still have the version 1 Liquid Barn Lava Cake, and for some reason you have Euro Flavors Amarena Cherry, you should mix this up because it's really good. Or sub out the cherry for SSA. Amarena Cherry is a very natural cherry flavor. It's not very sweet, but it's just a real cherry flavor. There's no plastic notes, no cough syrup notes, no normal cherry like off notes to be had at all. It's just a really good cherry. And at only 1.5% with like the 6% lava cake, it's not very present. Like it's there, but it's not forward in the mix at all. It's kind of a back note, which is perfect, which is what I think. Like I said, I've never had this cake in real life, but I think that that's kind of how it should be. And with lava cake, yeah, so 6%. One thing, Liquid Barn, they use their flavors percentage is pretty high normally. And with lava cake, if you use it down low at like 2 or 3%, you get this really delicious like hot fudge, like the center of the lava cake. But if you use it up top 6-8%, you get the cake part. And that's what I was going for. I wanted the cake part. And so this to me, it tastes like a chocolate cake with a little bit of cherry. And I'm here for it. It's really good. I like it.
So for the people asking that which one, how do you know which lava cake you have? This is lava cake V1.
Yeah, this is V1.
And then this is lava cake V2.
Oh, wow. Quite a difference.
Interesting.
So you should be able to tell which one is which.
It's
A little bit.
the scary looking dark one must be all the deliciousness.
It is all of the deliciousness. This is my prized possession right here, but I save it purely for my chocolate covered strawberry.
Yeah, well, as long as you have a mix that you still use. See, my thing is, I used to hold flavors too. Like, I still have some old Inawera milk chocolate. I don't ever use it because, for one thing, I don't remix the same flavor more than once. Twice if it's really good, but like then I'm done. And of course, new mixes aren't using it because it's an old flavor that you can't get anymore. So now it's like I have this flavor that's, yeah, it's delicious, but I don't use it.
Okay. So
So treat yourself. Treat yourself to a mix of it since you haven't used it in forever and just make it for you.
I should go back to an old mix that uses it that I really liked and just.
Well, even where I started DIYing as late as I did, this lava cake right here can't be more than 2 years old.
Yeah.
So it's not even that old of a flavor, but you can definitely tell.
That's crazy.
Which one is which.
Yeah, that's quite the difference. All right, Jen, you're up, madam.
Well, I went safe and I didn't want to use too much cherry because cherry and chocolate just is difficult for me. But
it's a difficult profile.
It's difficult. So I went with, for my cake portion, I actually went back to vanilla cupcake from Flavor West. And I know that's not too popular these days, but it's a very frosting vanilla cake type, but it's got plenty of butter in there for my taste. So I used that at 5%. And then I backed it up with chocolate glazed donuts from FA. So the chocolate glazed donut has that bakery note in it.
Yeah.
And it's got the chocolate note in it without it being an overpowering chocolate. And it's definitely not a Tootsie Roll chocolate. So I wanted to make the cake a lighter kind of chocolate. And I wanted it to have a lot of frosting because I see all that white in there. So I used cupcake batter from Flavora because to me, cupcake batter from Flavora is more of an icing. It's really sweet and it's delicious, right? And I backed that up with some meringue to make my frosting. And then I used marzipan for my cherry. So I went safe with marzipan where it's not very noticeable. I do notice that. I only used it at 0.25%. I think I should have boosted it to about 0.5, but it gives us some very, very good notes in the mix. The only thing I would do, I would probably boost up that marzipan to probably to 0.5 if I was going to make this again. It's just a cake with a little bit of marzipan and some chocolate.
You know, I use marzipan too a lot of times when I want to go for cherry, but I don't want the off notes, because prior to SSA and some of the other newer cherry flavors, none of the cherry flavors were good. They all had like that weird plasticky gross off note. So you use just a little bit of marzipan because it's almond, but it's also like very
almond mix in with some cherry. So yeah, it does have a nice almond mix, and my chocolate isn't too pronounced in it. But it's definitely there. It just blended really well. It feels like the marzipan is on the frosting and the cake is separate. So I don't get a distinct like cherry on top. So we'll just pretend I just took the cherry off and moved it to the side and ate the cake.
You can eat your Black Forest cake however you want.
That's just how I'm gonna eat mine.
Yep, that's fine.
I'm gonna move the cherry to the side.
And using the FA chocolate glazed donut flavor, genius move. Never would have thought of that. That's a really good
Well,
idea.
I didn't want to lose the bakery note, and I didn't want too much of a chocolate. I've made a couple of chocolates that were deeper, so I wanted it to be a fluffy type cake, and the donut base in the chocolate glazed donut is pretty good, and it blends well with other cakes. So that was what brought that on.
Very cool.
Cream it up too much since I was already using the Flavora cupcake batter. You know what I mean? I was afraid it was just going to turn into a mushy cream if I used a chocolate.
Absolutely. No, it's that was a good idea because you want to keep that bakery element. I thought about using also, I almost used one-on-one O's cookie. But it's more of like an Oreo type thing, and like I don't want like that harder crispy cookie. I want it to be cake. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm using version 1 liquid bar. I'm like, there's got to be enough people that have the first version, and like I said, I wasn't too worried about being that accessible because I thought it was gonna suck, but it's fine. Chocolate glazed donut, awesome move. Everyone's mix looks amazing today.
And it's a pretty simple one. I didn't go overboard. I did have one that I had built up, and it had all kinds of shit in it. And I was like, you know what? Actually, the one with the fewer ingredients tastes better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now you see why so many of us love to go keep it basic, because when you have
sometimes you need to build it, but I was just getting too crazy, me trying to blend all the flavors together. So I just kept it simple and submitted the simple one that tasted well. Easy to make, decent. I wouldn't say it's a top 10. I would say if I had to rate my own mix on this, I'd probably say I'm at a 7. I'm above a 5, but not quite high enough to give myself a 9 or a 10 on it. And I think that might also be because I don't really like chocolate all much.
Oh, okay.
I don't like vaping chocolate.
Yeah. See, I'm like that too. I'm like, I love chocolate in real life. Don't get me wrong. I have a huge sweet tooth. Cookies, cakes, candy, whatever. I mean, that's how I got to be so big. But vaping it, I'm not that huge a fan of vaping chocolate.
Yeah, it's just weird to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is weird. But it's a nice treat every now and then, you know?
Well, and there are people that really enjoy chocolate. So I can say it's pretty good for a chocolate. That's a good way to put it. And the marzipan gives it a specific little ting that it just works really well in there.
Yeah, no, it looks fire. It looks delicious. All right, we had quite a few people play along with us today. We had 7 people. So I pulled up all 7, but if someone else can pull them up and we can maybe kind of rotate how we share this, so I don't have to go through all of them on my own, that would be sweet.
That tells me that there are people that like chocolate, even though we don't.
Exactly. This was a very popular profile. The first one we'll talk about is just because he was the first one to submit it. Good old Sam, one of our judges. In fact, 2 of our judges submitted recipes this week. So Sam just named it Black Forest Cake, and he did black cherry jelly bean by Wonder Flavors at 1.5%, and then he did 2% cherry by VSO. He did 0.5% of Vape Train chocolate mousse, 3% of the creamy sponge cake by Flavor West. Oh, look at that, 6% lava cake by Liquid Barn, 3% Capella vanilla whipped cream, and then 1% one-on-one whipped cream. I like where his head is at because I almost used Capella vanilla whipped cream too. And then I was just thinking about things, and I remembered one of the flavors I had was buttercream frosting, and I'm like, well, that's good too. So I'm like, so I went with vape cream, but I almost went with cap. So this looks really good, and the fact that he used the chocolate mousse just to bump up the lava cake a little bit, which makes me wonder. And of course, he says he popped in for a minute, but says he couldn't watch; he would have to catch the replay. Makes me wonder if he is using version 2 of the lava cake, but using chocolate mousse to bump it up to be more like version 1.
I would think so because he's a fairly new mixer, and I would doubt that he was around getting ingredients back when they had version 1 out.
I think that as well. So, all right, and then we've got one from Karen S. And she used 1% Compo Cherry by SSA. 1.2% Vape Train Devon Cream, another great, fantastic chocolate. 2.5% Glamour Chocolate by Berry. 1.5% Juicy Cherries by SSA. 3% Liquid Barn Lava Cake. And 2% TFA Whipped Cream. This looks really good as well. And I bet, Devon Cream and Glamour Chocolate, both amazing chocolate notes. So, so is Lava Cake. And then you've got the Juicy Cherries, which, if I'm not mistaken, it's a little bit of a brighter, kind of more natural tasting cherry than the Compo Cherry. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the two kind of complementing each other. And then, of course, you got whipped cream by TFA to kind of tie it all together. So very nice.
Cool. And if you want to, I can talk about the next one for Will.
Sure.
I've got it pulled up right here. Let me get it to where I can see it and talk. So he did not Black Forest Cake, MIXINVIXENS. So how is it not? Okay, let me just go over that. He did chocolate base from VTA at 1%, chocolate mousse from VTA at 1.5%, compote cherry SSA at 0.50, light rum VTA at 0.25,
Ooh.
Madagascar vanilla 1%, and yellow cake from Flavor West at 0.25%. Wow, that
0.25% yellow cake. Like, can you even taste? Like, is that even doing anything for the mix? I wonder.
probably it's probably bringing in the butter. That's what I'm thinking he used it for.
Yeah.
To bring in a little bit of that butter.
Yeah.
And he didn't do, I guess he didn't do very much cake at all. That's probably just bringing a little bit of bakery and a little bit of butter. What do you think?
That's why it's called not Black Forest cake.
Yeah.
It's not really a cake.
Maybe he just wanted the topping. He's like, all right,
just scoop off the frosting with the cherries in it and stuff.
Yeah, he's like, fuck the cake. Nobody can taste cake.
Yeah, maybe he's cake blend like you, Louis. That looks good though, with adding a little bit of that light rum by Vape Train.
I bet it was. I bet that's really good.
I like where your head's at, Will.
Yeah, same.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing. All right, Lumi, you want to do the next one?
All right, we're doing Jim, aka Griffixman on ELR. I got the right one up, right?
Yep.
All right. They used buttercream frosting super concentrate at Wonder Flavors at 1.50, cherry VSO 1.50. Is it so weird saying recipes that have numbers that are normal? Should have just given me the random one. Dark chocolate VTA 1%, lava cake liquid barn 5%, super sweet Capella 0.5%, very cherry vanilla by Gremlin at 5%.
Interesting. I've never tried that flavor. Have any of you guys?
I didn't even know they did flavors.
Yeah.
I'm thinking with the lava cake used that high, I'm thinking that's where he was getting his cake note from.
Mhm.
Because I know if you start using lava cake over, I think it was like 2 or 3%, it goes from like that chocolate goo fudge, I guess, over to the more cakey side.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I like lava cake because it's so versatile. Because you use it down low, 1 or 2%, you get this really great like chocolate syrup, kind of hot fudge, chocolate sauce. You use it up higher, and you get a really nice bakery chocolate cake with it. So very cherry vanilla. I'm gonna have to check that out. Interesting.
This looks like it's going to definitely be very cherry forward.
Mhm.
I think even with using lava cake that low or that high, though, I just don't think I'd be tasting the cake. But then again, I'm cake blind. I might just mix this though, because this is where I almost wanted to go. I just don't have the very cherry vanilla.
Yeah.
I really wonder what that's like, that very cherry vanilla. It sounds pretty interesting.
Let's see. Let's see if there's any notes about
Oh,
it.
there is. This idea came from the very cherry vanilla that came in last week. I mixed the SFT for testing and really noticed that it reminded me of the vanilla cherry icing on a Black Forest cake.
Well, there you go.
I then dropped in lava cake, like the little brackets, which I have clear one. So he's got the V2. So I put in some VTA dark to bring out the rich chocolate cake note I wanted. The VSO cherry adds sweetness and lips to the mix, and buttercream just binds it all together.
And I think Kayla just said that very cherry vanilla is a one shot. So
okay, and
she thinks it's a one shot. So
because there's only one. This is the only recipe that uses it, and there's no notes on it, so it must be a new one. Yeah, he says the mix is very cake forward with cherry and creamy vanilla on the exhale.
Now I gotta mix it.
Yeah, it looks really good. Looks good, and that that vape train dark chocolate, another outstanding chocolate note, and it is very dark and very like rich. It's a good one. Okay, so the next one we have is author Michelle Hughes, and she did GOC's Black Forest Nights. Wait a minute, is she the one? Is she the author of all the TOC recipes I've been seeing? Or is TOC stand for something that I'm not getting?
Michelle Hughes is talk.
She's talk. Okay, she's been putting out like some crazy recipes. Like I've been seeing TOC recipes. It seems like they've just been in the front of my mind recently.
Well, she's got that DIY group for beginners. So I think that she's been testing and making well, maybe not beginner recipes, but simple recipes that beginners would enjoy.
Okay. All right, well, let's see what Michelle did. She used 1% Inware biscuit.
This is definitely not a beginner recipe.
0.5% FA blackcurrant. 1% of Inware cherries. 0.4% medicine flour dark chocolate. 1% Rick's Sugar Daddy. 2% vanilla cupcake V2, and then 1.5% of Flavor vanilla pudding. Very cool. You know what? I have no experience with that medicine flour dark chocolate. Have any of you guys tried it?
No, I wasn't thrilled with the medicine flavors. They're not bad, but they just
Yeah, and I'll tell you, she did do an old school trick that works every time with old school cherries.
Yeah.
That black currant and that cherries in Aguera, that's a
Mhm.
magical mix together. That's
Yep.
just what makes cherries cherries.
I noticed that. That's why when I saw this, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not a beginner mix because of that trick. It's just because it's an older trick, and of course medicine flower beginners don't normally use medicine flower flavors, but it looks really good. I like it. I'm here for it. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing.
And she used marzipan like I did.
Yep. Thank you, Michelle. All
The
right.
Marzipan sisters.
The next is Rum Pirate. Jen, you want to read that one off?
Sure. Got it. Let me pull it up. Sorry. Oh, God. Where are we? There it is. Let me.
Brett, I believe, is his name, right?
Yeah. It is here in the chat. Rum Pirate. So he did, let's see, he did cherry extract from TFA at 0.75% with compote cherry from SSA at 1.5. Cornbread from OOO at 1.25%. I bet that was to enhance his cake. Double chocolate V2 from Capella, which I hear is a really good chocolate. I haven't tried it yet, at 2%. Glimmer chocolate at 1%. Sweet cream VTA 1.5%.
Oh, nice.
Sweetness from Flavora at 0.5. And vanilla cream for 1.5. So I guess the cornbread is going to give him the bakery note, and he's going to turn those other flavors into a cake. What do you guys think?
Really good, Brett. This is really that cornbread. Definitely 1.25%. I think would give you enough cakiness. And it's easy to turn, like once you have a cake, it's easy to turn it into a chocolate cake by adding chocolate. You know what I mean? Because you just kind of want the texture of the cake, which the cornbread does. And TFA cherry extract is actually a pretty darn good cherry as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty chocolate heavy, and the cake, I think the cornbread actually will turn into a cake with all that chocolate.
I'm pretty sure Full Cart swears by that version 2 Capella double chocolate.
I haven't tried it yet.
Chocolates, and I think he's used it in a couple of his mixes.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. Of course, I don't go out of my way to buy chocolate either, so.
Right, yeah, because we talked about it. You don't like to bake chocolate.
So. I'm going to order it next time. That way I have it so I can use it at some point.
Alrighty, one last one.
There's actually 2.
Oh, is there? Did I miss
Addie
one?
Tooney put his in our Discord.
Oh snap! All right. You want to go over Addie's and then I'll do Amber's next. Last.
Sure.
Okay.
So our Addie Tooney made one for us, and he used Bavarian Cream by Winter Flavors at 1%.
Nice.
Flavor West White Cake at 1.6%. Cherry VSO 1.8%. Cornbread by One on One at 1%. Glamour Chocolate by Mullenberry 0.7. Philadelphia Butter Cake Winter Flavors 1.7. Vanilla Buttercream Frosting Vape Train 0.6. And Whipped Cream by One on One at 0.6.
Very nice. That sounds good as well, Addie. Very good. You got the cornbread in there to bump up the white cake, and yeah, you got some really good chocolates to turn that cake into a chocolate cake. I gotta get that VSO cherry in my life, I think.
Yeah, a lot of people like it.
Although I'm not much of a cherry fan, but I mean, just by nature, I want all the things, because if there's one profile I'm gonna try, I want to try everything I can by that profile, since being unnoted and stuff. So that looks really good, Addie. Thank you.
You
for
guys will
sharing.
have a cherry show soon enough, and you'll have
I
to get
probably
it.
will, yeah. Yeah, I'll have an excuse to order it. All right. So the last one, like I said, last but not least, is Amber K. And she used 1.5% VSO cherry, 1% SSA dessert chocolate, 1.5% juicy cherries by SSA, 1.5% lava cake by Liquid Barn, 0.5% Capella Super Sweets, 1% Vape Train Sweet Cream, there that is again, and 1% one-on-one whipped cream. Have any of you guys tried that dessert chocolate by SSA?
No.
I haven't either.
I need to get that too because I haven't tried it and I'm really interested in how it is. So Amber, if you're watching, let me know. Let me know how you like it. Or I mean, obviously you like it, you put it in the mix, but let me know what you think of it. That would be sweet. And I noticed a lot of people use whipped cream by 101, and a couple of people use sweet cream by Vape Train, which I think is a really good idea too. And I kind of kicking myself for not using that, but I did vanilla buttercream frosting and it worked for me. But sweet cream is another good choice as well. Very cool. Well, thank you everyone for sharing and playing along. No, it's really good.
I just noticed that you guys can see in my background my painting.
Oh yeah. How's that coming along? Did you
Pretty
do
good.
the lizard? Did you do the lizard yet?
Yeah, there it is. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Here, lizard, lizard, lizard.
Very cool. I like it.
Very tropical. Very Florida. I'm going to do a frog next.
Nice. All right. Well, if there's anything else anyone else wants to add, let's thank our sponsors and get on out of here. What do you say, girls?
Do it.
Do it. All right. Well,
Food
if you like us and you like what we do and you want to support us in a fun, tasty way, there's a couple places you can do that. Oh, before we get off, let's show next week's picture, next week's profile. It is a Gatorade. It'll do a little something different, you know, going from bakery to now a beverage. And it's green, but I think it's cucumber lime flavored Gatorade.
It might be kiwi.
It could be a strawberry kiwi Gatorade. It could be a melon Gatorade.
Yeah.
It's just
It could be honeydew.
It could be anything other than lime Gatorade
It could
because
be
Lumi
apple.
is a stubborn little bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you can't vape lemon or lime, then why make it? Make something delicious that you're going to enjoy, and everybody will enjoy it.
Apple or something. That would be fun. I like
Ooh.
melon green apple. That could totally be a Gatorade flavor. I'm gonna have fun with that. I'm not doing lime cucumber either. I can't even read the label. No one can read the label, so it's just a green Gatorade.
Yeah, that's right. I can't read the label either. It's just a green Gatorade. We'll just go green. Next week will be green week.
Sounds good. Sounds awesome. Besides, Cloud King Cody says the cucumber Gatorade is horrible. We don't want to make horrible mixes.
My husband actually loves that Gatorade.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I have some in my living room right now.
I didn't even know it existed, and it doesn't sound like good. Like, I mean, because you think of Gatorade, you think of like heavily sugared, basically like sports water, and cucumber just doesn't sound like it would, you know, mesh really well with that. So, oh well, we're doing green. Someone can do cucumber lime if they want to, but it sounds like to us, it sounds like most of us are not. We're just gonna do green. But like I was saying, if you like us and you want to support us in a fun, tasty way, head on over to Flavor Jungle and check out our one shots. Or Jen has some one shots over at DIYFlavorChaser.com. And that would be cool if you want to check us out and help support us. We would really appreciate that. thank you so much to our sponsors for Horror in Bull City. Wayne, thank you so much for putting us on your podcast network. We really appreciate that. We will see you all next week, and everybody have a good night.